The most striking thing about talking to actor Kelly Reilly is how different she is from Beth, the character she plays on Yellowstone. Beth is quite possibly the toughest woman to ever appear on television, probably to a fault. Actually, definitely to a fault, because aside from Rip and her dad, no one really looks forward to her entering a room. She is the woman who gets bombed and walks out of the building, still unable to hear, with wounds still festering, and then she asks for a cigarette before transitioning to this steely-eyed, revenge-minded animal. As for Kelly, she's rather slight and polite and kind. In fact, talking to Taste of Country, she wore a cozy sweater, hardly a power play, and she kind of deflected when we asked her what the toughest scene for her to shoot was. Eventually her answer surprised us, but first she reminded us that
it's all make-believe, so it's not real violence. For me, I'm not subjected to that, so it's a lot of it is just pretend. That's just my job.
Yeah, I know, that's kind of obvious, but in the bigger picture, we kind of needed to hear it as well. Hey, it's Billy Dukes, and if you're here for Yellowstone deep dives and insight, we got you. Tap subscribe, because every Monday you'll get a full episode recap. Over 100,000 people joined the conversation after the premiere, and we debated theories in the comments section below. It was a lot of fun, and I hope we can keep it up. If you really want deep analysis, I suggest you search for the new Dutton Rules podcast as well. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But now I want to hear Kelly talk more about why that bombing scene was a relative walk in the park compared to a violent scene from season 2, when Malcolm Beck sends a pair of men to rough her up at her office.
That was particularly brutal, sort of emotionally more than physically for me, because it was so raw, and I knew that this was someone fighting for her life and the strength that she had to go to find that place I went to find it.
Just a refresher here, this is probably a top 5 brutal Yellowstone scene. Beth is tied up, punched, and beaten to within a whisper of death. Then she's nearly sexually assaulted, but the whole time she's spitting and cursing at her attackers, refusing to show fear. Spoiler alert here, Rip eventually saves her, and it's pretty awesome. Kelly told Taste of Country's Sterling Whitaker that she sees Beth as someone who will die biting an attacker's ankles off.
That's kind of the animal that she is. So it really was about, I find there's a lot of dignity in Beth's kind of approach to things, even though it's insane. But I find that the fact that she would die in that way, spitting hatred and fire to this man instead of giving him fear, I think that was a really powerful moment. I think it was quite a powerful moment for a lot of women. A lot of women wrote to me about that and just said that was really an interesting place to sort of experience how to respond and how to access that strength.
Slowly, so slowly, Beth is becoming easier to relate to. In season 4, we've seen her mothering instinct emerge with Carter, and she warned us during this interview that the relationship between her and Rip as parents, if you can call it that, takes many twists and turns and doesn't end with a bow tied all around it. I'm going to show you another clip here, and I didn't tidy it up to make it exciting for YouTube because I think it's really insightful to show the pauses when Kelly talks. It further contrasts her and Beth, but if you want to tap out here, that's fine. This might be something of a bonus cut for the super fans of the show, so I'll do this thing now where I say thanks for watching and I beg you to subscribe. Also, a reminder to thumbs up this video if you love this kind of insight so we know to do more of it. Okay, here's Kelly Reilly, uncut.
What she sees in him is someone who life has not given him many options. In fact, it's taken everything away from him. And the way Beth survives, because she's had so much taken from her too, she relies on her life sort of force, the fact that she just goes at life in a way that is filled with she thinks weakness is the next thing to danger. Like if she's weak in herself, bad things happen. So it's almost like she made a decision one day to never be afraid of anything. I mean, you could psychoanalyze that, and I do because I play her. But who is that as a character? And so as far as her thinking that surviving is the most important thing, I think that is what she finds strong role models for a young boy who could just go off the rails is something that she thinks he needs. And I think she thinks all kids need.